quarter-finals of the Champions League. Arsenal taking on Real Madrid. The bookies have the defending champions as favourites to advance against the Premier League side. For more on this from Spain, Alex Kirkland joins us. Both teams have got problems coming into this, Alex. Let's focus first on Real Madrid. How much concern is there after what was another shocking performance at the weekend, losing at home against struggling Valencia? Or is all that kind of swept under the carpet and it goes, all right, we're going to put our Champions League jackets on now and we'll just go out and win?
There's a bit of that, Dan, for sure, but there is concern as well because the team haven't been playing well. It's not just the Valencia game, which was a strange game, a strange result. Madrid created chances, didn't take them, and got beaten with a goal in the 95th minute. But the team haven't been performing, well, as we've discussed many, many times, pretty much all season, and they're still not getting it right. And now you're getting to the stage where most of the time, in the league at least, they get away with it. They didn't get away with it against Valencia, of course. But in the Champions League, you're in the quarterfinals and onwards. Can you keep getting away with it playing against better teams, basically? And there are question marks about the defence, about the midfield. We know the forward line. We know sort of the firepower that it has and the quality that there is there with Mbappe and Vinicius and Bellingham and Rodrigo. There are no concerns about that. But in terms of the team as a whole, there are questions for sure. And there's a lot of respect for Arsenal as well, even if this is a weakened Arsenal in terms of injuries, in terms of some of their results in the Premier League. There's a lot of respect there for them, for what Arteta has done. We heard that from Carlo Ancelotti today, a lot of respect. He talked about Arsenal being one of the most complete teams in Europe, an all-round team. He talked about in terms of their defence, in terms of how they can press high, they can sit deep, what they can do in transitions. So a lot of respect there. And a little bit of worry as well. But of course, bottom line is, the reality is, in the Champions League, Real Madrid are always confident, they'd always back themselves to go through against almost anyone, including Arsenal. But I think you have to say that Mbappe is the most reliable of the three penalty takers. And based on what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, it's definitely not Vinicius. Ancelotti said he tried to sort of give him some confidence back by giving him that spot kick against Valencia. Well, that didn't work.
Kieran, obviously you played for the Champions League for Arsenal. You take a look at Real Madrid's starting 11 compared to Arsenal's potential starting 11, and it's full of winners who've been there and done it in this tournament very recently, compared to an Arsenal side quite inexperienced when it comes to this stage of the competition. How much of a difference does that make? How much does that lack of experience that Arsenal bring to the table make a difference, if at all?
Well, I think history in the competition goes to show you that it makes a massive difference. You know, even just saying the words Real Madrid and Champions League in the same sentence just strikes fear probably into most teams in Europe, just because the aura that they carry in this competition. I don't think that there's any special game plan that there is. I don't think there's a mega plan that you can have to try and defeat this Real Madrid side, because I don't think you can have a game plan against a team that doesn't really have a game plan. They don't. They're just a team of very highly skilled individuals, world-class players, and they just rely on that to get the job done. There's no point talking about high press or a low block at the Emirates, try and get a draw. I think that the only way to do it is to just be at your peak performance. I think the individual battles on the wings and in the middle of the park are going to be crucial. But yeah, for Arsenal, they really do just have to be at their peak performance in order to get a result. The only thing I will say is I would like them to at least take the game to Madrid at the Emirates, just because, you know, we've seen multiple times this season, game after game, really, Madrid will give you a chance. It is a big shame that Gabriel's missing from set pieces, because after watching Madrid's game at the weekend, they just look so vulnerable on set pieces. Yeah, and for a team to look so disorganised and disjointed, you know, to be that fearful of them because of their individuals is quite fascinating, really.
It's really difficult to call this game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because on one hand, Arsenal's defence is decimated.
Yeah.
You've got Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Bellingham, in theory, licking their lips. But then we've seen Real Madrid play this season, and they are not a team. They've struggled to gel. And there's no reason, apart from the fact this is the Champions League, that you feel that they can go on and win this tournament.
Yeah, and Arsenal are struggling to find goals.
Yeah.
So, for Arsenal, the key is how they defend behind the ball. That's simply is it. I don't see Real Madrid going to Arsenal and trying to outplay them and try to play some nice football. They will go there, and if it ends up 0-0, then that'll be fine with them. They're going to draw a line in the sand, depending on how deep it is, and then from there they'll try and take advantage of turnovers, of Arsenal misplaced passes, whatever it may be, and then they will try and hurt Arsenal that way. And that's why I'm saying Arsenal behind the ball have to defend well. If they do that, then they can smother Real Madrid and they can win the game and they can take a lead.
Psychologically, how much does the fact that it's Real Madrid play on Arsenal, and how, if you're Arteta, do you try and get over that hurdle?
Well, you've got to drum into them that at the end of the day, it's a name. It's a team that in the past has gotten results when they weren't fancied. But if you put them under pressure, regardless of who they are, then absolutely you can take advantage. And the first 5-10 minutes is huge, because there's no question when you get on the field against the opposition, who are Real Madrid or any huge team in the world, it's in your mind.
Right.
Everybody says, oh, don't think about it. That's not true. You know that they're good and you know that they can hurt you. But if you start the game well and you put them under pressure and then you see little mistakes and you see little problems that they're having, all of a sudden you actually believe what the manager told you. We can beat this team and we will beat this team and we're going to knock this team back and we're going to take advantage of it. So it's huge that Arsenal, they draw a line in the sand right at the very start of this game.
It's going to be great, Shaq, isn't it? These two legs.
Absolutely will. And to your point, it's so difficult to call because we know how good Real Madrid can be, or at least should be on paper, but then we've seen their performances. I know this is probably the least version of Real Madrid that we've seen for quite some time. We know Arsenal have the tools to get the better of a team like Real Madrid, how they've been playing of late. But you just wonder. And to your point, you step on a field, a Champions League field, up against Real Madrid, their record, their reputation is intimidating. And trying to get over that hump and play your natural game is probably Arsenal's biggest test. I would love to see Arsenal have a go at Real Madrid from the start and rattle their cage.
What's stopping them?
Real Madrid's name. I think right now...
Right.
If we were just talking performances, never mind the name of the club, never mind the name on the backs of the shirts, I think most of us would say Arsenal win this. But every time we try to discuss this game, it always seems to come back to, well, this is Real Madrid. Mm-hmm. This is the Champions League. And as players, you understand that. As Arteta, he would also recognise moments like when City were, 2-up with minutes to go a few years ago, and Real Madrid just refuses to be beat. Was it last season when I thought City was the better team over the two legs, but again, Real Madrid just refused to be beat. Little moments may define this 180 minutes. And Real Madrid will be ready. They are experienced enough to recognise those moments. Can Arsenal avoid that? Can Arsenal let their football do the talking, do not drop in concentration? I think if you play on the front foot and recognise, again, that you've got to be switched on for 120 minutes, take absolutely nothing for granted, Arsenal can beat Real Madrid. That's not saying that I'm thinking Arsenal are going to.
Yeah, who have you got going through here, Kieran, with your Arsenal ways?
I mean, I don't know how to call this one. I really don't know how to call this one. Both teams are going to score. I think that there's a good chance that we see extra time. And I think that if it goes down to penalties, Madrid go through. And if it's in normal time, Arsenal go through.
Huh. What a lovely, clear, succinct answer you gave us there, Kieran. Thank you so much. I'll be running to the bookies now.
That's the best I've got.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what we've learned to love. Meanwhile, just a reminder of how things stand in La Liga after that defeat for Real Madrid. And remember, Barcelona could only manage a draw against Real Betis, but it's still Barca who are big favourites to lift the title come the end of the season with 8 games to go. Atleti won, but we're not, no.